Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? Let's take a look at some Middle East prophecy news. First of all, remember the Palestinians during the 50-day war last year? Between the first and second blood moons, when the Hamas started firing rocket after rocket, over 3,000 rockets into Israel. And after that, the smoke cleared, the dust settled, and 2,000 Palestinians were dead, and 60-some Israelis. Then there was again to talk about peace. But do you remember what led up to this fight? 9 months of negotiations and shuttle diplomacy by Secretary of State John F. Kerry ended in a final blow when Palestinian President Abbas signed a unity agreement with the Fatah and Hamas. Literally, in other words, locking arms with the terrorists. That broke down all negotiations and the war broke out. Here we are now. Guess what's happening? Breaking news out of Israel. Palestinian government to resign within 24 hours. This news is just now hitting. President Abbas of the Palestinian Authority has just announced the resignation of the technocrat unity government 1 year after it formed due to the inability to work together in the Gaza Strip. Just 1 year after Hamas in Gaza and President Mahmoud Abbas' Fatah party in the West Bank announced their intention to form a unity government and to end the years of Palestinian conflict and division, they are now going to resign and pull themselves apart again. The only thing they could unify over, they couldn't come together and unify over peace. The only thing that they brought those two groups together was their hatred for Jews, for Israel, and to want to go to war. That's it. They can't agree on nothing else. Let me tell you what else is going on. Up on the Golan Heights, with the wars raging in Syria now for over 4 years. We don't know who's in charge in Syria. Is it Bashar Assad? He says he's the president, yet he just sits in his little bunker palace up there in Damascus, while the rest of the city is literally being turned into rubble, which is prophesied in the Bible in Isaiah 17:1. And then there's Al-Nusra and Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the Free Syrian Army, all of them fighting for territory, Christians being slaughtered, murdered, executed, beheaded, and crucified, raped, and destroyed in mass graves all over the entire nation. There are refugees flowing into different nations, and now thousands are gathering along the border with Israel. And here's the news we're getting out of Israel. Israel has said that they are ready to intervene if Syrian refugees were to throng to the armistice line of the Golan Heights. After Israel's Arab minority groups stepped up a public campaign to help their brethren caught in the war next door. Israel has sought to keep out of this 4-year-old crisis in Syria, this old foe from which it had to capture the strategic location of the Golan Heights in 1967, the conflict, and where it fears more belligerent Islamic militants could take over should President Assad fall. And so far, Israeli forces have limited themselves to returning fire into Syria. When shooting hit their side of the Golan and admitting hundreds of refugees for medical treatment, but with no end in sight to the fighting that has sent more than 4 million Syrian refugees fleeing to neighboring countries as Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, and Iraq, Israel's top military officials told Parliament on Tuesday that the preparations were underway to respond to any massing of refugees on the Golan Heights border. Quote, if a large number of refugees come to the border from the combat zone, we will do what is needed to prevent a massacre. So the Israeli government says we will help these people from being slaughtered by these radical Islamic jihadist groups that are fighting for the land of Syria. This is getting uglier by the minute, and the pressure is building in the Middle East. Are you saved? Because the time clock is ticking. closer and closer to midnight. Are you prepared? Give your life to Jesus Christ. We are running out of time. We are running out of time.